Welcome back to Counterculture. I wanted to put a otherwise known as, but I'm not going to do
Don't.
it. Right.
Don't
not
do
gonna
it.
that. Hey, I want to be in 1 John 3. I want to start in 16. That's not where I want to be, but we'll probably get stuck there. Are you ready? It says, "By this we know that he laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for our brothers. But if anyone has the world's goods and sees his brother in need, yet closes his heart against him, how does God's love abide in him? Little children, let us not love in word or talk, but in deed and in truth." So I was reading this and I was thinking about many things this morning, all kinds of different ways to apply this. But when you read this at face value, what sticks out to you?
Put your money where your mouth is.
Love that.
What that looks like is different, though, sometimes.
What do you mean?
Here's. If you have worldly goods and you see someone that doesn't, sometimes, Andrew, just taking care of something for someone is not the best thing for them.
What do you mean?
If someone is constantly getting bailed out, we see this with kids today.
Yeah.
Okay, parents are like, "Oh, we'll just pay for it. We'll just pay for it. Don't call the police. Don't whatever. Who cares if our kid hits your car? We'll pay for it. We just don't want." It doesn't help that kid. It's not teaching them anything, but that someone's going to bail me out. So sometimes what we have to do, and I get this a lot, is I'll get people say, "Well, Pastor, I just need someone to give me, someone gives me $100 or something like that." Okay, and then until the next time, and then what is it next time? $200
Yep.
because you're not. How about I teach you? I'll help you now. So this is the interesting thing. It's like this thing. What is the most loving thing that I can do? It may not be what you think the most loving thing for me to do is. I may look at this and assess this and say, "Wait a minute here. We really need to deal with a problem here. You have obviously you have a problem dealing with money, or you have a problem dealing with relationships, or keeping a job. Let's take a look at this and see what might be the problem. Let's get to the real heart of what the problem is." Which I think goes back to Jesus. He walked slowly through the crowd. He looked and saw what the assessment was.
Right.
He didn't just say, "Okay, that's what here's what you think you need. I just need someone to put me in the pool." And Jesus says, "No, you need to have faith is what you need to have.
Amen.
In me, not in a pool." What is the real issue? So this idea of love seeks out what is best for someone. We can help someone alleviate an initial problem, but at some point we got to say, there's a habit here and we need to look at it. Sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes someone just needs some help and we need to help. I get that.
So I love what you're saying. I love that side of the coin. That there's a flip side of this coin, which is that when we love in deed and truth, right? Sometimes we love people, and that means we're going to do things that we might not want to do, right? Sometimes it means we might have to make decisions because we love somebody. We might have to make decisions that are best for that person,
Right.
that cost us,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And that say like, you know what, I don't think I really want to do this, or I don't even think I need to do this, or that there's even a problem. But because I love this person, I'm going to do this because I recognize that they need this.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That I recognize that I need to take care of them. I've said that I love them, right? So we do that in word, and we do that, right, in action. But I love what he says. It's not just about word or talk. It's about, I recognize that somebody needs to be loved right now, and what does that mean? What do I need
Yes.
to do for
Yes.
that?
Yeah.
Right?
What is the real need, and what truly is what they're asking me to do? Is that the most loving thing I can do for them? Sometimes the most loving thing we can do is to say no.
Right?
Is to say no.
It's funny because I love what you said, that we have to take that and we have to make it individual in nature, right? We don't get to just say like, "Hey, here's how I'm going to treat everybody, and this is just the way it is, and you either love me or take me or you leave me," type of thing.
Right.
Sometimes we have to look at each situation and say, "Hey, listen, right? This is what I need to do right now to love on you. Right. And again, it goes and he says, like, this is what it's all about. Jesus laid down his life for us. Right. We talk about this all the time, talked about it last night in Bible study for a second. But this whole idea, are you really willing to lay your life down for somebody else? Right. That's not just a physical in nature thing. Right. Sometimes that's in word. Sometimes that is in deed, and like saying, listen, I'm going to stay right here. I'm not going to do what I want to do because I love you. Right. I'm going to hold my life.
So here's one, the parable of the prodigal father.
Yeah.
Not the prodigal son. Although they were all wasteful. That's what prodigal means. Extravagant, wasteful. Should be the parable of the loving father. Now we said, well, he wasn't very loving. He should have gone and ran him. He just gave him his inheritance, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
It's okay. The best thing I can do, the most loving thing I can do, is let him experience this and learn from it.
Yeah.
A friend of mine one time told me his kids were out on their ATV and they got hung up on a berm.
Yeah.
And he and his wife were watching, and she's like, well, you need to go out and help them get off the berm. He goes, no, let's just see what happens here. Let's see what happens.
Yeah,
and you know what they did? They figured it out. They figured out how to get off the berm, and they went on their happy way. And I bet you they were like, wow, that was cool. Now we know how to do that next time we get stuck. We don't have to have Dad come out and say, well, if you did this right. No, it was like.
Probably next time they're going to get stuck on purpose so they can
just do it again. Let's try a different way of doing it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think, it's funny because in that story of the prodigal son, the older brother who's out in the field withholds his love from his brother. Why? Because he's got this anger problem, right? This feeling like he's been shorted.
Yeah.
Right? And again, it's that concept of real love says, it doesn't matter how I feel at this moment. My brother's needs. He was lost. He's now found. That's what matters to me. And it's a hard time in our culture today. We're having a hard time seeing this.
Yes.
Right? Where we can put aside so much of what we're doing today is based on what I think is right or wrong. If I think I'm right, I make a stand, and it doesn't matter how it comes across to anybody else. It doesn't matter what happens to anybody else. It doesn't matter where anybody else is in the whole thing. I'm just standing on this.
Yes. Right?
But we're supposed to season everything with love, right? And say, no, it does matter. Right? It does matter in this moment. You can be as right as possible, but you still have to take care of your brother. You still have to take care of your sister, your parents, or whatever it is. How we do that matters. Right. But that's the difference in people who are really loving, right? Because they make that evident.
Because then sometimes what can happen is you start enabling. You start being used by people who are, and abused by people who use and abuse. And you start getting taken advantage of. Then what happens is it ends up ruining the relationship.
Yeah.
And what is the old saying? Lack of preparation on your part does not mean an emergency on mine. I'm not going to go swimming unless I know how to swim or something. I love that old movie where John Wayne takes the kid and he's telling him. He says, "Well, you need to get over on the other bank there and swim over there. The fish can see your shadow." He goes, "Well, I can't get over there. I don't know how to swim." And he goes, "How old are you?" And he's like, "I'm 7. You don't know how to swim? Well, it's time you learn." He doesn't teach me. He just throws him out. Grab a hand of water, he says. We rob people of a blessing sometimes when we don't let them figure, how am I going to do this? And I ask help from my friends, but I don't always want them to come in. Okay, show me how to do it. Now let me do it this time so that I can get an idea. And sometimes if I just will sit and look at something long enough, I'm like, okay, well, here's an idea. How about if we go to God and say, God, what do I do here? And he may say, you know what? There's been times that God, get me out of here. Lord, save me.
Yeah.
Peter, Lord, save me. And no, I'll save you, but I want you to kind of experience this a little bit and grow a little bit.
Well, I think that again, there's so much to this whole thing, right?
Yes.
That we need to look at things and we need to look at individual moments and say, hey, at this moment, right? There are moments where I'd be really happy that my mom or dad jumped in the pool to save me.
Yes.
And then there are moments where they might feel pretty comfortable about, hey, you're not going to drown, and it's going to be okay, and I'll let you just
stand up.
Yeah.
Stand up at the pool. Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, yeah. It is interesting how but we see that over and over. We're just going to bail people out, bail people out, bail people out. Is there times we need help? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But there also is something to say for helping a person stand on their own 2 feet, which is really helping them become a better person, that they can be functional so that they're not just, are there times we need help? Yes.
Yeah.
But what does that help look like?
Amen. Well, that sounds like a fabulous place to leave this edition of Counter Culture. We'll see you next time right here with Pastor Mark and me.